It is just that easy to be part of the program, and we'd love for you to be a part of the program. A lot going on right now. Get one thing out of the way, announcement to be made. Probably most of you already know about it. The baseball game tonight at Auburn, Auburn versus South Carolina, has been canceled. It will be made up tomorrow, beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. They will have a doubleheader. The tickets that are initially bought for Friday will be honored tomorrow. There will be, at the end of the game, they will clear the stadium, and then you'll have to use your Saturday tickets at 4 o'clock if you plan on making that game at 4 o'clock. So be aware of that and act accordingly. Obviously, A-Day tomorrow, every lot going on the plains, a lot going on campus. Bo Bikes Bama gets kicked off tomorrow. There are actually 2 routes that are going to be taken. I think a 66-mile trek will head out about 7 a.m. and then there'll be actually a 22-mile trek that for those of you that are a little less enthusiastic, that one gets off at 7 a.m. That one starts at 9:30 a.m. There's still time to register for those. I think you can go on to auburntigers.com and check out those things. Obviously, though, the big news and the big deal is A-Day, which brings us to our question of the day, brought to you by LM Lee Marketing Group for signage, tees, web design, and more. Call on LMG today at 334-742-0197. Lee Marketing Group, success by design. So many things to talk about. About what are you really expecting tomorrow? You know, spring games are all about practice. It's not really, you aren't going to see any big time, things. It's not like Gus Malzahn's going to unveil anything here. A lot of injuries have taken place. Auburn really hasn't been able to scrimmage a lot, so we don't really know who will be on the field for the Tigers. Yesterday it was announced that Carl Lawson was kind of iffy. He's kind of a big star, but who are you looking for? Who are you looking for? Who's the one person that you'd like to see or you're looking forward to see in person tomorrow? That's our LMG question of the day. So, Brett, who are you looking forward to see? Who's the one player that you want to see tomorrow?
Well, I don't know if there's just one guy I want to see, but, there's a host of guys I think you want to see. But, A-Day, and I'm not trying to put a damper on anybody out there with A-Day, but A-Days are just a fun time for people to come into town and be part of something that leads you into football season. It's kind of an intermediary before you get into to the summer and then on into the regular season. So what we all would love to see is what goes on behind closed doors, and that's the things that go on that the true football fans in the competitions at each position and all that, who's made progress, who hasn't. We're only privy to what they release out of practice, and so A-Day gives everybody a chance to see some new guys, and we'll see some things, but Gus Malzahn is not going to unleash a lot of new stuff. It's going to be a lot of what you've already seen. He made a comment earlier in the week that this is just what we saw in 2013 was just a skeleton of what they're going to run coming up this year. So if you're another team out there on Auburn's schedule, that can kind of be a little bit scary because this offense set a lot of records and put up tons of numbers, but we'll see. It's going to be exciting. The weather will be pretty. It's supposed to be. The rain should be out. Going to get all of it out as it's rained all day today.
Thank goodness.
And I think everybody's a little bit tired of it. And but anyway, it'll be a good day for A-Day. But we'd love to hear from you, 888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. That LMG question of the day is, who do you expect to come out and be a player that takes you, by surprise maybe, or somebody you're just ready to see, and we'd love to hear from you out there. If you can make it to the game tomorrow, it'll be on ESPN at 2 o'clock, and so you'll have an opportunity to view it from the comfort of your own home.
Definitely. Looking down the roster, you wouldn't expect Nick Marshall probably to play a lot, but he is one of those guys, and Gus Malzahn making that comment that what you saw last year was just elementary, very, very simplified version of the offense, and wants to open it up more this year. Will we see Nick Marshall throw the ball? And will he throw it a fair amount maybe in that first quarter? How will he look? That's something I'm kind of interested in. Will there be a noticeable difference between the way he throws the ball and his accuracy? He completed, I think, 59% of his passes last year. They'd love for him to get up to around 65%. And I think that could be – it sounds like a small amount, but actually that could be the difference.
Well,
in Auburn being really, really, really good.
Well, when you got a receiving core like you and I looked at here, you're going to get a chance to see Duke Williams out there. I think that's probably one of the most that's probably the guy that a lot of people want to see. Dominique Walker, Quan Bray, Ricardo Lewis, Tony Stevens, Sammy Coates, Marcus Davis, Melvin Ray, and then you got Jalen Denson down there. And I really remember Jalen Denson starting to come on last year and be a guy that Nick Marshall wanted to go to until he, messed his knee up down at LSU in that monsoon, kind of like what we've been seeing today, but playing in basically a hurricane in Baton Rouge that day. And, it's going to be tough for Jalen Denson or any of these other guys to get on the field. It's one of these stiffest competitions. It's almost like you have to throw it a little bit more because you got so much talent and playmakers over there in the wide receiver corps, but you got some good running backs as well. And Nick Marshall is so fast running that read option. I don't know. It's a good issue to have. I don't want to say it's a problem because it's not a problem. It's a good issue to have to figure out what you want to do more of. Do you want to continue to run the football like we've been running it, or do you want to try to throw it a little bit more and get it out in some of these guys' hands? I'd rather have too many options than not any at all. And we've been in that boat before too. We've been in that boat where you couldn't run or pass. And so now that's not the case. And, credit Nick Marshall. He had to learn on the fly, guys. He had to learn as the season moved along and to do what he was able to do. Now, that doesn't automatically qualify him, nor does it punch his ticket right back to the national championship game. You don't know what this year's going to bring. Everybody's also had a year to prepare and get ready for this offense. But Gus Malzahn put some new wrinkles in. But to do what Nick Marshall did on the fly was tremendous. And I don't think people really appreciate that enough. I mean, we get caught up on talking about, well, he's just not that good of a thrower. He's inaccurate. And I think we've all been guilty of that. But, man, he's got a lot of great characteristics as well.
Yeah, you definitely love to be able to run the ball like they did last year. And because when you do that, you force the defense to cheat. And when the defense cheats up, that's when new accurate, more accurate Nick Marshall will be more effective. And you think about all, you can just think off the top of your head 3 or 4 or 5 times that guys were wide open that would have been touchdowns that weren't able to capitalize on. So those are kind of big things. As far as the running backs are concerned, you're probably going to see, you're going to see Artis Payne and Grant. You're going to see a lot of Peyton Barber, I think. But, in games like these, you're going to see guys like a lot of names that you don't really recognize. You'll see Patrick Lyman, who we saw a little bit last year, but, a lot of these other different things. I think Peyton Barber is one of those guys that everybody's really, really excited about. They've heard about. He's really opened some eyes in the spring. It'll be interesting to see him in live action, and you can tell a lot more. In a game, even in a game like this, just lining it up and turning it loose and letting him run in open space, it kind of you get a sense maybe of what those guys are going to be able to do. The offensive line, you've got the stalwarts there in Dismukes and Kozan and Slade and Young. They probably will play, but I doubt they'll play very much. I'm very interested to see Sean Coleman and Patrick Miller and see what they look like. I'm seeing. You've heard about the progress that Robert Leff has made. Will he look as good, or can he come in and fill in just in case something happens to somebody else in the starting lineup? Other guys down the line, the offensive line is a position of strength for Auburn, and these guys are definitely definitely worth watching. I think we have a phone call. Let's see, Luke in Alex City. Luke, you're on Sportscall.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going well. How about you?
Oh, just watching it rain some more. I'm hoping this will end. But, I know that both A-days are supposed to be fine for tomorrow as far as weather-wise goes, and I can't wait to sit and watch both of them. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it will be too, Luke. And you and I'll be on Saturday Sports Countdown tomorrow, and we're gonna run down a lot of stuff regarding 8As tomorrow on both Alabama and Auburn side. But while we got you on the phone here, the next few minutes here in this first segment, Alabama's going to have several visitors, and Auburn's going to have several visitors. A preview of some of Alabama's. It's an all-star lineup for Alabama. They got a lot of 4- and 5-star guys that are going to be in attendance. Darren Payne, Darrell Williams, Christian Bell. All are from Hoover and Shades Valley. Nick Gibson from Pinson Valley. Bradrick Shaw also from Hoover. And then you got Keith Mixon, a slew of guys that are going to be up there, of course, from Dadeville, Alabama, right up the road. Anthony Jennings, Lester Cotton from right there in Tuscaloosa, and Desharius Flowers from Viger. Talk about some of those guys real quick.
Well, the name that really stands out to me on that list, and I love Darren Payne. I think Darren Payne's a fantastic player. Alabama definitely wants him. I'd love for Alabama to get him. But Nick Gibson, when I was doing the scoreboard show last year, every single Friday night it seemed like Nick Gibson was scoring 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 touchdowns. He was just the story every single week. And the thing is, he plays for Pinson Valley. I don't think he gets maybe quite as much recognition as he should. And the question is Alabama going to offer him a scholarship and a committable scholarship that he can say yes to? I think he wants to go to Alabama. I think Alabama's evaluating it right now. I'm one of those guys. I get to be a sucker for high school kids that I've seen or covered. And Nick Gibson's one of those guys, and I'm hoping that Alabama ends up offering him. I think he can play in the SEC. Another guy that you didn't mention is Minka Fitzpatrick, who is a defensive back out of New Jersey, and he's a 5-star kid. There are rumors that he may go ahead and commit. He's bringing his family down with him. I believe they're already in Tuscaloosa. So that would be a big get for Alabama, as they have had some defensive back issues. Of course, they got 2 good ones coming in Tony Brown and Marlon Humphrey. But you can never have enough good defensive backs. There's no doubt about that. Darren Payne, of course, we talked about him. The 2 kids out of Hoover, I like them both. I hope Alabama ends up offering them both. I think that remains to be seen. But you're right. I mean, it's a star-studded cast. I don't know that I've ever seen so many 5-stars go to one place at one time. So I'm looking forward to seeing if there are any effects from that this weekend. I want Alabama to have a huge crowd at 8A. There's some people out there, and I used to be one of these, that used to say the crowd doesn't make a big deal. I don't like the fact that Nick Saban's calling out the crowd for not being there. And you know what? Alabama had 78,000 people there last year. It wasn't like they showed up for Vanderbilt's spring game with only 8,000 people. But I think that this weekend specifically, Alabama needs to have a good showing and revert to what they did when Nick Saban had his first year and quote unquote sell this thing out, or at least pack the stadium out, to show a lot of the recruits that are there that the passion is not gone, because I think that's something that coaches are using against Nick Saban right now, that maybe he's jumped the shark, so to speak. And I don't think that's the case at all, but if I were an opposing coach, that's what I would be saying right now, saying, hey, look, they've lost their last 2. They've lost some of their mojo. The crowd's not showing up at their spring game anymore. And so hopefully tomorrow that everybody will prove them wrong about that.
Well, the attendance really now at these 8A games is just used for, it is recruiting more than anything, more than just filling the stadiums up. You've got all these big-time prospects coming in, and you want to have a big showing. So, like you said, you can continue that momentum. Lou, we're up against a break, my man, and I appreciate your call, and we'll be up with you tomorrow. We want to encourage everybody to tune us in tomorrow morning.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks so much, Luke.
More to come on this Friday edition of Sports Call right after this.
All right, guys, bring it in. Listen up. I want to talk about last night. Yes, sir. Maybe you had your friends over, huh? Cracked open some icy cold Budweisers. And maybe, just maybe, you had yourselves the night of your life. Well, yesterday's over, boys, but tonight Tonight is just beginning. You got a bunch of bonus buds sitting pretty in your fridge. I want you to crack them open, and I want you to mass text all your friends and round them all up again for round 2. I don't want to hear. I do not want to hear. But we're tired from yesterday, Coach. Or the cleaning lady just left. That's what the fool who missed it would say. Gentlemen, listen to me. You need to go out there and live, and you need to do it tonight. Carpe diem, boys. And while you're at it, carpe nitem too. Great times await. Grab some buds.
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
At Tiger Iron Gym, you don't have to deal with old, worn-out equipment or the gym closing early for the night. Tiger Iron Gym is proud to be open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Around the clock, you can train on the best equipment anywhere. 12,000 square feet of state-of-the-art cardio and strength equipment. You name it, they got it at Tiger Iron Gym. These perks and more can be yours for just $19 a month. When other gyms shut down for the night, they're going strong at Tiger Iron Gym. On South College in Auburn between Winn-Dixie and the Big Blue Bookstore, call 329-7299.
If you're heading to a party, having a party, or on your way home from a party, TK's convenience stores are guaranteed to have everything you need. Drinks, chips, and a case or two of your favorite cold refreshment should do the trick, right? You don't need to take time out of your nights and weekends to find a parking spot, locate what you need, and then wait in line forever. TK's believes fun should happen much more quickly. Not to mention you can fill up your tank while you're there too. TK's convenience stores, always there when you need us.
In today's competitive environment, time is money. Allegra Printing in Auburn has the fastest turnaround with their state-of-the-art all-digital printing equipment. Allegra delivers with speed, precision, and quality every time. And their outside sales reps will help you from start to finish, so you don't even have to leave your office. From simple to sophisticated, turn to Allegra, East Alabama's go-to print company for more than 25 years. Visit them in Auburn at 1625 East University Drive or call 887-3180. Allegra Printing. Quality service. Expert solutions.
To Sportscall on this cold and rainy Friday. Andy Graha and Brett Pritchard here with you until 6 o'clock. We're in our Auburn Athletics Update segment brought to you by Sarah Honda of Sylacauga on Highway 280, where we simply offer the state's best price on all new Hondas and an exclusive lifetime warranty. The Auburn Update segment brought to you by Sarah Honda here. Brett, we need to talk about the Auburn baseball team, and you know, Sonny Galloway is a man that speaks his mind, and when he's asked a question, he answers it. You know, he really laid it on the line and pretty much aired his frustration yesterday.
He did, and you know, I think everybody, you know, first of all, anybody at Auburn shouldn't be shocked, you know, about Sonny Galloway. They knew what they were getting when they hired him, and he made a bold statement yesterday or the day before, whenever it was that he said it. But basically he said, I'm at a crossroads. Is this program going to change Sonny Galloway, or is Sonny Galloway going to change his program? And he was critical of, the players, the effort. He's critical of the coaches, critical of the whole program. And he also made mention that he didn't realize that so many things were broken when he took this job. And, I don't know. I've had a couple people today come up to me and say that, that was probably a little bit too harsh to say out in the public media, that he should have handled some of that and keep that behind closed doors. But I just think he's to that point now that, he's frustrated. He said it over and over. He said, I'm still blessed to wake up and be a baseball coach at a great university, but he said, I'm frustrated with how things are done. And he's just, again, he's a guy that's used to winning and winning a lot, and he's having a dose of medicine that he hasn't really had in his career. And he knew it was going to be a work in progress, but I think it's even catching him off guard a little bit about how bad things were. And I think the same is going to happen in basketball, Andy. I mean, people need to understand with Bruce Pearl, he's going out doing a gym right now, or he's not really technically, but getting guys to come in until that, until he's released formally from the penalties. But it's not going to be 25 games next year. If it is, then I'll eat my words. But there'll
be sweet words.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But there's going to be some of that goes on with the basketball program as well. And I think Sonny Galloway, he's not there to make friends. He's here to win. And when Nick Saban got to Alabama, he wasn't there to make friends. He was there to reinstill a culture in that program to get them back to winning, and he did that. And he's notoriously known for not being the most personable person. He didn't care about that, nor does Alabama's football program. They just want him to continue to win, and I think that's what Auburn fans want to do. And everybody's a lot happier when you're winning, but when you're trying to figure it out and trying to get things turned around, there's going to be a lot of these days.
That's for sure. Let's go to the phone lines and pick up Ben in Dothan. Hey, Ben, you're on Sportscall.
Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. How you doing today?
Good. At the first of the show, you were talking about who we were interested in seeing. I got several that I'm like everybody else. I want to see Peyton Barber, see what he's going to look like. But one kid I'm really wanting to see is I want to see if Cam Toney's going to step up and offer some quality depth at the linebacker position, and also Derek Moncrief, see if he's as good as advertised, and Jonathan Jones over at the corner, and see what they're going to do against Duke Williams and Sammy Coates.
Absolutely, that's a good point. And I'm like you, Cam Toney. Auburn has been kind of thin at linebacker. It appears that Casanova McKenzie and Chris Frost are look like the starters there. Look like they're going to be stepped up to that position. But Justin Garrett's another guy that had a great spring last year. Has had another great spring. Can he stay healthy? That's always been the question. But Cameron Toney has come in. He was one of the guys in that recruiting class that kind of held it all together. He was one of the most vocal guys, and it'll be very interesting to see what he does at that middle linebacker position. Obviously, like you said, Jonathan Jones, another guy that was injured last year, but they say is one of the fastest guys on the team. Auburn is, going to miss Chris Davis. There's no question about it. Jonathan Mincy takes over that role, but can Jonathan Jones, is he gonna can he cover that side of the field? They say with sprinter speed, he can.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of these younger guys and the guys stepping up. I'd like to see the two receivers too, Dominic Walker and Tony Stevens. See what they got. But anyway, guys, thanks for taking my call and enjoy the show.
Absolutely, Ben. Thank you. Well, Brett, going back to what you said, Auburn takes on South Carolina this weekend in a 3-game set. Obviously, the game tonight has been canceled. They'll play a doubleheader tomorrow. The last time, they kind of had a blow-up, Sonny Galloway, Auburn played a lot better. They went on a, kind of a streak and won 12 or 14 games. You kind of hope that happens here, but it's going to be difficult. Auburn's going to throw Dylan Ortman tomorrow. He's having a fantastic year. They're going to follow that up with Keegan Thompson. That's another thing. Galloway made reference to he had done some things out of character to try to make sure that the culture got changed. He said he was going kind of back to the truths of baseball. He'd got away from that. He's going to be coaching third base now.
Yeah.
You've seen Auburn have so many runners get thrown out, this year. And we'll have to kind of wait and see what this does. From where Auburn is right now, losing to Samford the other night, they don't really have anywhere to go but up. So if they could, take 2 of 3 from South Carolina. South Carolina is a very good team, number 6 in the country, 28-9. It just a lot go riding on this series.
Well, it was hard to believe that Auburn was number 1 in the West at one point in time, and after the first 2 series were looking really good, and you go to Tennessee and at that time pick up a big win, but since then Tennessee hadn't done very much either. But you look now, Auburn's sitting in the dead last position behind. It's not like this thing's away from them by any stretch. I mean, Alabama's in first at 10-5. Ole Miss is 9-6. I mean, you're only talking, you're talking 1 weekend of baseball away from being back up in the top 2, basically. If Ole Miss or Alabama or LSU has a slip up, which they can, because everybody looks like right now, when you look over in the East, they got 2 teams at 6-9 in Tennessee and Missouri. That just tells you that one hurt. That Missouri series hurt at home, and you had to figure out a way to win that series, and Auburn didn't get it done, and that kind of started this slide and kind of got you second guessing yourself again. But you got teams that all the way to Florida at 9-6 over there in the top of the East. There's just not a lot of separation. This weekend you could start to see some separation if you don't come up with some wins and keep yourself in contention. So Auburn was in those games in Tuscaloosa, and they couldn't figure out a way to do it. I mean, you leave bases loaded 3 or 4 times and don't get any runs, it's going to end up hurting.
Quickly, let's go to the phone line and pick up David in Smith Station. Hey, David, you're on Sports Call.
Hey, how y'all guys doing today?
Doing great. How about you?
Okay. What kind of crowd are they expecting tomorrow?
Well, that's a good question. It's going to be on ESPN televised. That has some effect of may hold some people away. But Jay Jacobs sent out a letter pleading for Auburn to show up in force. I'm not sure if you're going to see 83,000 again, but I would not be shocked at all to see over 50, if not 60.
Okay. We're going to have a big recruiting class in for the game, too?
Yeah, we're having a lot of visitors in. 5-star quarterback Torrance Gibson from Fort Lauderdale, 4-star linebacker Jeffrey Holland, 4-star linebacker Jordan Colbert, 4-star offensive tackle Bailey Sharp, Tyler Carr, Kerryon Johnson, DeAnthony McGriff, Kendall McFadden, all 4- and 5-star kind of guys.
Well, does any of those look like they'd be serious, maybe consider committing this weekend, or are they just there to check things out?
I think there may be, 1 or 2 that you could, possibly put that label on, but it's so hard to tell. I'm not sure anybody that I would put money on.
Okay. And, back a while back, that Jay Jacobs was talking about claiming some of the national championships. Is there anything look like might come with that, or is they going to do it, or was they just was it talk? Or
yeah, well, I think it was serious talk, but I have not heard any confirmation on that. I would imagine if it's going to be done, it'll be done sort of at the beginning of the season. They'll kind of unveil it. I'm sorry, David, we got to go. Join us the next segment. Tom Luganville from ESPN will be joining us. We'll be right back after these messages on the Friday Sports Call.
Remove the hard work. Over 40 years of combined experience, SignSource is the premier sign supplier for Central Alabama. From illuminated and monument signs for your business to banners, car wraps, or political yard signs for the individual, SignSource can do it all. We specialize in designing sign concepts that get results.
This one over on top
Contact
of
us today at 256-825-0197 or on the web at signsourcenow.com. Go straight to the source. SignSource.
It's political season. Get the most exposure for your campaign through Lee Marketing Group. Yard signs, banners, decals, door hangers, postcards, business cards, video production, advertising, and more. Custom, professional, and engaging. Everything you need in one place. Contact us today. 888-533-6758. www.leemarketing.net. LMG. Success by design.
June will mark 10 years of providing quality T-shirts, athletic uniforms, and promotional products to Lee Apparel.
What's his tie?
Our success is due in large part to the customers we serve in the Lake Martin community and the great state of Alabama. Our hopes are for many more years of success and growth.
Yeah.
Contact Lee Apparel today at 256-825-0197 or on the web at leeapparel.com.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's why I
Lake Wynn's Golf
made the
Course,
mistake,
the most
with trade.
Quality round of golf
I had
in
about
Central
6
Alabama.
questions. I thought, well, that'll be plenty.
Located right off Highway 280.
He gave me one answer,
answer. Lake Wynn's Golf Course
Luganville.
offers affordable memberships,
Pro
shop, junior golf program, annual tournaments.
I thought we could
and
ask him
weekly
what he
matches.
thought, since he played
Call
college
for your
football.
tee time
Did
today.
he ever feel like an employee?
256-825-9860.
When he was playing, is the union
Wynn's
good or bad
Golf
for
Course.
college football?
Looking for one of the best ways to market your business
we could ask him about
effectively? Advertise with R&B
Hurry
Media
up, no
through
huddles,
Sports
obviously.
Blitz, Sportscall, and
Should
the
they modify
AHSA
rules?
Radio Network. High school and college athletics are king in Alabama, and consumers of media that center around this subject are steadily on the rise. Get the best of both worlds, radio and TV sports talk throughout the state of Alabama. To learn more, contact us today at 256-794-8223.
Sarah Honda of Sylacauga is the region's #1 Honda dealer for 3 simple reasons. One, Sarah Honda offers guaranteed lowest pricing. 2, the best service after the sale with a full service department. And 3, the most money for your trade that
You want me to do it?
affects
I
your
mean,
payments
leave it,
and put
start
you in a
off, you want to
positive
start.
equity situation. At Sarah
It
Honda,
don't
we
matter,
give you all
man.
the incentives and have the best financing options in the region. Price, service, and selection. Shop online at sarahhonda.net or
I'll
call
just start
Dino
off
or
and I'll
Mike
ask
at 1-800-NEW-HONDA.
Ask him whatever you want to ask him.
Looking for the most comprehensive sports show in Alabama? Catch Sports Blitz live from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Tuesday nights. Join Brett Pritchard, Randy Lee, and Luke Robinson as they discuss the latest in high school, collegiate, and nationwide athletics. Tune in to FM Talk 95.9, watch live on ACN Charter Channel 80, or catch the live stream at sportsblitzlive.com. That's sports with a Z. That's Sports Blitz Live, Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m.
Welcome back to Sports Call on this Friday afternoon. Andy Graha and Brett Pritchard here. We've got Tom Luganville, the recruiting director for ESPN, on the line with us. Hey, Tom, are you there?
I am. How you guys doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Terrific. Doing fantastic. Thank you.
Tom is going to be in town covering the Auburn. He'll be the sideline reporter for the Auburn spring game tomorrow on ESPN. Tom, you deal mostly with recruiting, but you're a very smart guy, and I've always enjoyed your opinion about things. And you're a guy that's always around college football, has chosen that as his career path. You're a guy that played college football. I'm curious, did you ever feel like you were an employee when you played? And do you believe the unionizing of college football is good or bad for college football?
Well, I never thought of myself as an employee. I thought of myself as a guy that was lucky enough to play football and get an education in return. I'm a little disappointed that our society has gotten to the point where we've diminished the value of what the next 40 years can entail by getting a college education. And, my whole take on this player unionizing thing, guys, is nobody seems to think anything through. Everybody says, oh, well, we're not getting what we're worth and so on and so forth. Well, the reality is that you're an amateur athlete, you're not a professional, and before everybody just rushes to all of a sudden join a union, let's not forget the moment that you do that, Well, now all of a sudden you become a taxable employee. Now all of a sudden you're having to pay for your own way, and you're having to pay for your own meals, and all of a sudden you don't get that tutoring and study hall that you get as a scholarship athlete. You're now responsible for yourself. And I don't think that people have overly thought this thing through. It sounds all rosy for those that feel like the college student athlete's not getting their due, but the reality of it is, there's a lot that goes into this far below the surface of what people see from the outside looking in.
Tom, this is Brett, and I couldn't agree with you more. And, I've said on this show for over a month, maybe even longer, that I just don't feel like people understand what college football and college athletics are faced with. And, if we frankly continue to go down the path that we're going down in 5 years, college football, as we all know it and as we love it, will no longer exist. Look, I'm all for being fair to everybody involved, and I know that times have changed and things are different than they were 25, 30 years ago, and this is a big business and tons of TV contracts out there for millions and millions, even billions of dollars now. And, a lot of people want to say that, they're taking advantage of these athletes, but you're right. The word student has been tossed aside, and now it's just all about the money. Is college football its own worst enemy? Are all these contracts and all, or was it something that just you couldn't really get out of your own way with here? Is college football really its own worst enemy?
Well, I don't think so, but I go back to the late 80s and early 90s, and everybody says, oh, well, these coaches are making millions upon millions of dollars. Well, even back then when coaches were making hundreds of thousands of dollars, they were still making far more than any player would be, because the reality is that the coach has a college degree. The coach has gone through the normal course of developing a career and paying their dues and earning the right to earn an income as part of a job that they were educated to be involved in. That's why you go to college, so that you can put yourself into that position. You're not given this. This isn't something that should be handed to you. And, the reality is that everybody makes choices, and you assume the risk if you want to play the game of football. When you sign the national letter of intent, you know what you're signing on for. And you know what? If that's not something that you feel you want to do, you know what? Go out and get a job on your own. Maybe get 2 jobs. Pay your own way. Pay your tuition. And by the way, you got to pay your meals. And, like I said, you may not get that tutoring. Nobody thinks this thing through. College football is the greatest game, I think, in the world. And, because of cable television, because of so many different revenue streams and resources that produce revenue, the numbers and the dollars have become outstanding. That's just the natural part and evolution of business and capitalism and amateurism in sport. But nobody's forcing anybody to do anything here. Nobody's telling a young man, hey, listen, you've got a scholarship, but go ahead and not do it if you don't want to. And then the young man makes a choice. Players are playing because they have the opportunity and a God-given ability to hopefully see the bigger picture down the road of being able to earn an education because they have a specific talent to play a sport very well.
Tom, I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm behind you 100%. Is exactly what I've said, and I just think that we're in a day and age now that you're seeing so much change in college athletics. And is the NCAA in a position to where they feel like they're having to give on some things, whereas they've kind of taken a little bit harder of a stance in the past? Because we've even had some people write about here in this state about the NCAA considering down the line maybe taking marijuana off the controlled or the substance list in NCAA. I mean, so many things are changing so fast here in college football. I feel like we're going to lose college football as we all know it.
Well, I would certainly hope we wouldn't go down that path. I think that if we went down that path, we really be getting into a world of hurt as far as substances and marijuana and things of that nature. But what I do think that you may begin to see is more and more programs, institutions, those that do have a commitment to academics and athletics, trying to come up with a way to maybe form their own alliance, form their own allegiance, in the sense that they would no longer need the NCAA, at least not at the FBS Division 1A level as it pertains to basketball and football, which are the 2 main revenue streams in college athletics. And and create your own governing body where you've got people involved in the decision-making process that are actually living the day-to-day life of what these coaches and administrators are going through each and every day. The problem with what we have now when it comes to making decisions and things of that nature is you've got a bunch of people that don't have a record going next to their name, aren't having to be out on the road recruiting, aren't involved in the day-to-day lives of student athletes and what it takes to run a program and administer the program. They're the ones making all the decisions. And until we start getting some folks that are living it day to day, involved in the decision-making process, then you're probably going to be going down the wrong path.
We've got Tom Luganbill on with us on Sportscall here, ESPN recruiting director, going to be in Jordan-Hare Stadium tomorrow on the sideline covering the Auburn spring game. Tom, you can't talk about Auburn and Gus Malzahn without talking about the other big story that was the last couple of months, and the hurry up, no huddle. Do you believe, where do you fall on do you believe the rules of college football should be modified in any way to adapt to the hurry up, no huddle?
Well, I certainly don't think that they should be, and I most definitely don't think that they should be under the veil of some safety precaution that nobody actually has any data or evidence to back up. I think that whole part of it's a sham. I don't know of a single coach in college football that's not concerned with the safety and the priority of their players. There isn't one out there. They all want their players to be safe, but this has nothing to do with that. I think the defensive coaches right now, with the advent of the spread offense and the dynamic dual threat quarterback, they feel like they're a distinct advantage from an X's and O's standpoint because they can get stuck with some personnel on the field that doesn't necessarily allow them to match up the way they would like to. But the reality is football is cyclical. You go back 30, 40, 50 years. I can go back to the Houston Cougar veer offense under Bill Yeoman and all the defenses were up and ons of how are we going to defend this? This isn't fair. They're blocking low and below the waist. And then, you know what, you went into the 3 yards in a cloud of dust era, and then you went into the run and shoot era, and now we have another era. And who knows 10, 15 years from now if we don't go into another way of approaching the game. But the reality is defenses eventually adapt. They may not like it because it's more difficult, but essentially what we have here is the evolution of a game. The bigger, faster, speedier athlete is becoming more paramount at every position across the board, and it's making coaching that much more difficult. And so I don't think that any side of the ball, and that includes the kicking game, should have any rules tinkered or tapered with that have to do with the ability to actually play the game. If a team wants to go fast, great. What are we going to do? Tell them when they get inside the last 4 minutes of the game and they're down by 14, then all of a sudden they can't snap the ball until 10 seconds go off the clock? I just think we're taking this thing a little bit too far, and I see the defensive perspective. I get that and I understand that. But if they're going to go down that path, and again, this is legislation that has yet to be passed, and I don't truly believe when it's all said and done that it will be, I don't think that we should take it so far as to, by trying to equate across the board, we're actually now putting the other side of the ball at somewhat of a disadvantage by taking away what they think could be a competitive advantage for their philosophy.
Tom, real quick, one final thing, and I agree with you on that as well. I mean, you can over-legislate things to the point where you take things away from the game, and I think you just have to endure the changes and figure out ways to change with the times. But again, you'll be in Jordan-Hare tomorrow. Auburn spring game. Gus Malzahn, second year as the head football coach. He was 13 seconds away from a national championship. Nick Marshall with a full year under his belt. What's your expectations, and what's the nation expecting out of the Auburn Tigers going into the 2014 season?
Well, I know I'm visiting with Coach Malzahn and Brett Lashley, the offensive coordinator, and them going back over last year and dissecting particularly the quarterback position. The goal and the focus is to become more efficient, more accurate, and more consistent at the quarterback spot. They know they've got a dynamic special player in Nick Marshall when it comes to running the football. They know he throws the deep ball very well, which has been proven time and time again. the next evolution for Nick Marshall in the passing game is to get his feet and his eyes in sync with the progression and the target in the short and intermediate areas of the field, because that's where they cannot afford to have him miss glaring wide open throws that he should be routinely making. And if they can start making headway in that regard, you're going to see, I think, a full complement to the offense, because at the skill positions around the quarterback, with Duke Williams now and Sammy Coates, and you're going to have some young talent infused, it could be a much better group of skilled players around the quarterback. So you certainly want the quarterback to be more sufficient in the passing game to be more rounded as an offense as a whole.
Tom Luganville, ESPN recruiting director, we can't thank you enough for being on the program with us. You've always been a good friend to us, and we look forward to having you on real soon.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you so much. We're up against a break, but stay with us. There's certainly more to come on this Friday edition of Sports Call.
Hop on over to Kiesel Park for Auburn Parks and Recreation's 33rd annual Easter egg hunt, sponsored by
stick your neck out there and try to do the right thing and try to hold people to standards. It shouldn't benefit somebody else to come and just swoop them up. But on the flip side as well, people all make mistakes, and it may not have worked out at that particular university for that particular person at that particular time in his or her life. So should that be a one and done, one strike and you're out situation where they can't come back and change their life and change their perspective on what they want to do? I don't know. I don't think there's a right answer to that. I don't think there is a cut and dried answer to that. I think you can see it both ways, and I think there's an argument for both of those ways, because we've seen so many kids that Auburn has dismissed or Alabama's dismissed or Florida or Tennessee, for that matter, go on to smaller schools and be dominant. Georgia, you look at Isaiah Crowell, just here of late, Alabama State was able to pick him up. Look, it happens all the time, and I think it would be unfair to say, okay, you're just out of this conference. You can see where he's trying to make the point of if a guy like whoever it is, Dorial Green Beckham or Cam Newton or whoever it might be, Isaiah Crowell, gets kicked out of one respective university, that they shouldn't be allowed and given the opportunity to come back and penalize that school by playing against them. And, I can see his point there.
Yeah, it makes sense. The problem is, and, I kind of, I just look at my own life, and I always try to err on the side of giving second chances. I'm a big believer in second chances, and I think that, you should be offered at least 2, maybe even 3. But, and because of the transfer rules the way they are, no guy is going immediately from one school to another.
Mm-hmm.
They have to go and pay penance. They're going to junior college off in Kansas somewhere, and being miserable. Cam Newton talked about how miserable, how miserable he was, how lonely he was out there. That's not a little thing, and that's certainly a year of penance, of purgatory. How much do you want them to pay?
And on the flip side of that, I'll take the other side. And you're right. Everybody's not created equal, and everybody doesn't have, somebody may mess up one time and then they get their life on straight back in order. But there are some people that believe that a lot of these guys have been given 2, 3, 4, and 5 chances, and then when they finally have to be kicked off the team, I'm not saying Dorial Green Beckham went down that road, but by all indications, there were a lot of press regarding that this wasn't his first soiree. He'd done several things in the past, and they finally just had enough and had to part ways. That happens with some people, and in those cases, I can see that. I can see where if he's just continued to over and over violate rules and be a troublemaker, that could be a problem where you wouldn't want him back in the conference. But on the flip side, if it's a one isolated incident and somebody decides to leave a program and then go, like you said, to junior college and spend 2 years in isolation or 1 year in isolation and then come out and turn things back around, he or she should be allowed to do so.
Yeah, it's probably always better to look at it on a case-by-case basis. Don't ever make a blanket.
But there's nobody listening or in this room or anywhere out there that's a perfect soul walking
Absolutely
around.
not.
So I'm with you. Definitely second chances, sometimes third. 4, 5, 6, and 7. I think you've played your cards out.
We got to get to our next break. Don't go anywhere. The Fox Sports, Fox, whatever it's called, the Fox something break is next. We'll be right back after this.
show to watch.
From Tiger Communications.
Jackson, touchdown!
For 20 years, East Alabama's sports talk leader.
Swing and drive, goes to right!
Sportscall.
Oh, what a dunk!
Call in now at 887-3401-LOCAL. Or 1-888-9-TIGER-9, toll free.
Strike him out!
And now, coming to you live from the loveliest village on the plains, Sports Call.
Welcome back into Sports Call, the second hour. I'm Andy Graha, alongside my partner, Brett Pritchard. We'll be with you up until 6 o'clock, taking your calls. Give us a call at 887-3401 locally or 1-888-9-TIGER-9. You can be a part of the program. Brett, a lot going on this weekend. Obviously, this is A-Day Eve. The transit system will be running tomorrow, beginning at noon. I believe as of 4 o'clock today, campus was open for tailgating. I'm not sure anybody would be out there right now. I'm assuming it's kind of a
hook your boat up.
Yeah, really, it's a pretty nasty day, but the weather plans. I think we're in for a pretty good day tomorrow. Maybe a high around 69. So really, kind of a perfect day. Not too hot, not too cool. A lot of things going on. A lot of live entertainment, live music, face painting, activities for the kids. Easter egg hunt, a lot going on all around campus. But first, we're up in the quick hitter segment. But first, I think you're going to give us a trivia question.
Yeah, we'll get a trivia out there for our Sports Call T-shirt and decal. This will be the Spurs' 17th straight playoff appearance. That's the longest active streak in the NBA. What NBA team has the second longest streak? You'll probably be shocked by this one. The Spurs, with 17 straight playoff appearances, have the longest active streak. Who has the second longest streak going right now? 888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. Mark Emmert said, Andy, that the food rule was absurd and should have been eliminated a long time ago. What's your
Why
thought?
wasn't it?
Yeah, why wasn't it? What?
Yeah, well, unlimited snacks and food now for all student athletes. Our long national nightmare is over.
I mean, they finally fixed everything. So
it was ridiculous. I used to hear about this. You'd hear the Nebraska, I think, or Oklahoma offensive linemen. They had too much spaghetti. So they had to actually literally pay back money. It just foolishness. I mean, this is why people make fun of the NCAA.
I mean, this is exactly why, because they could have been. They're never proactive. They're reactive to every single thing. And Mark Emmert, tongue in cheek, went on to say, if UConn wants to feed Shabazz Napier breakfast in bed every day, they can. He said, he made a point of saying that the new rules weren't brought about because of the Huskies guard's recent comments that sometimes said he went to bed starving. He said the problem wasn't an issue only for schools; it was a burden on the NCAA as well. He said we wind up having to enforce the stupid rule, which means you have to have someone watching if someone is putting cream cheese on a bagel. I mean, why can't they be proactive? That's why nobody has any respect. I know that's one thing that Luke continues to harp on when we got in the talk about the marijuana issue with NCAA. He just wishes that the NCAA would just keep their nose out of it, and a lot of people feel that way.
There's no doubt about it. And he said, when the president of the NCAA comes out and says, yeah, it's a stupid rule and it should have been changed, why was it?
That's
right. I mean, it was been so easy just to, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, just to say this is kind of a stupid rule. I mean, people are probably going to, somebody out there is going to abuse it. And that was probably the intent. So let's make this rule so we won't have this abuse. But, you just got to trust people a little bit. And really, what's the harm? I mean, what are we doing? We're talking about feeding people.
Their rules are everywhere in everyday life. And somebody somewhere is always going to push a limit. That's going to happen. So, but you got to still feel like the majority out there is going to try to do the right thing and are going to abide by things. So, again, I just think the NCAA missed an opportunity to be proactive and do something to help instead of having somebody after a national championship game embarrass the NCAA on national TV, and then they react to it going, well, we should have done this a long time ago. Well, like you said, well, why in the heck didn't you do it? You know, what was the harm in it? So once again, the NCAA falls on its face when it has an opportunity to do something.
Well, Nick Saban hosted Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos offensive coordinator Adam Gase last week for 2 days during a visit to the Alabama Crimson Tide, which the coach called mutually beneficial. It says since they're a no-huddle team, we had a lot of questions for them in terms of what gives them problems and what defenses do that give them problems, Saban said. That was a mutual benefit. I know it was a benefit to us. I hope it was a benefit to them as well. So obviously, Saban, we like to say that there's the perception out there that he struggles with the no-huddle offense, that he struggles with the hurry-up, and it's true. Obviously, the last several games that they've lost have been teams that run the hurry-up. So he brings in Peyton Manning.
I don't know if Peyton Manning was the right person to bring in. Go ask Seattle.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That it's kind of an odd, but I guess if you're going to go with a guy that is as detail-oriented and is as as smart a guy, you want to go to a guy like Peyton Manning. I would have probably brought someone in from college games.
He's not afraid to bring a guy in.
No,
I'm gonna tell you, Nick Saban.
Consultants.
No, he's not afraid to bring somebody in, and he's been notorious for doing it. And he brought Lane Kiffin in, ended up hiring him. So I don't think he's gonna be hiring Peyton Manning, obviously, but he will. He'll go out there and he'll find a guy that or a couple of guys that he feels like is going to benefit his program. He'll bring them in here, and that's what he did here.
Yeah. Carl Banks, a guy that very good linebacker, defensive lineman for the New York Giants for years back in the 1980s, says he has issues with those comparing Jadeveon Clowney to former Giants teammate Lawrence Taylor, which I would kind of have some problems with that as well. But he makes a good point. He says Banks played alongside Taylor for 9 seasons and said that Clowney comparisons to the Pro Football Hall of Famer are ridiculous. He said, number one, you're stepping over a lot of great defensive ends. He said they should hope to be as good as a guy like Richard Dent or Neil Smith, Bruce Smith, or Charles Haley, which, it's kind of ridiculous, anyway. We label these guys. We bring them in from high school to college. We bring them in from college to the NFL. We put, all these different, expectations on them. They're going to be the greatest in the world. They're a can't-miss prospect. All these different kind of things. He's saying, look, Jadeveon Clowney, yeah, he his measurables are nice, but he hadn't played a down of football in the NFL.
Well,
to compare him to Lawrence Taylor is absolutely ridiculous.
Isn't that what we do in society now, Andy? Isn't that what aren't we so quick to just go on and crown somebody the next? We're always looking for that next whoever it is, whether it be Michael Jordan or Lawrence Taylor or whoever it might be, without them ever even doing anything. And then how many times do we miss? Well, miss more times than we hit it. So how about let Jadeveon Clowney get in the dadgum league first and do something before we start? And I agree with Carl Banks. I mean, I have issues too because Jadeveon Clowney didn't even have that great a senior season, or not senior season, but last year at South Carolina. Because he'd already been listening to everybody tell him how great he was, and he didn't have to put any effort in. I'll never forget that opening game against North Carolina on Thursday night. He was out of shape. He hadn't done anything all summer. And, after 2 or 3 plays, he was exhausted. And it's a shame because he can, and he has been, and in high school was such a dynamic player. And at times at South Carolina, unblockable. But he was notorious for taking plays off, series off, and having to tap out and come out himself because he was so tired. So, let's just quit being so quick to tout somebody as the next Lawrence Taylor when he has not taken a snap in the NFL.
There's no question about it. We're up against our next break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more to come on this Friday Sports Call.
Remove the hard work and confusion from growing your business with brand management and growth through Lee Marketing Group. LMG offers logo design, web development, search engine optimization, social media management, and more. Physical and virtual marketing is an amazing tool businesses need to utilize in today's economy.
edition of Sports Call on this rainy Friday. I tell you, if rainy days and Mondays get you down, a day like today will make you look for the highest bridge somewhere. It is not a pretty day outside, but we are in our Coast to Coast segment. This is segment brought to you by Carl Gregory of Columbus. Visit one of our 2 super centers at North Lake or Victory Drive. Right now, you can get Kelly Blue Book pricing on over 6 lines of new vehicles and all of our used inventory. Take the short drive to Columbus or shop us online at www.carlgregorychryslerjeepdodgegeorgia.com.
Our LMG question of the day out there, what do you expect out of tomorrow's 8A game? Who are you looking forward to seeing? Who won't play due to injury, and will you be attending the game? That's more than one LMG question of the day. That's more like a collage, but it will be on ESPN at 2 o'clock tomorrow if you can't make it down here to the Plains to check the game out. We had Tom Luganbill on earlier, his insight on the game tomorrow, and a lot of take on what he said earlier, and I agreed with him all the way across the board. And we've lost track of why we really play this game, and we've been our judgment has been clouded by dollar signs. Everybody's seeing dollar signs everywhere, and frankly, that's what this country's built on, is capitalism, being able to go out and make deals. And our love for college football has allowed these TV contracts to get to the point where they are. And he made a point about college coaches getting paid so much. Well, they deserve to, because they've been through GA positions. They've been assistants. They've moved up to head coaches. These aren't guys coming out of college making $4 or $5 million a year. These guys have worked their tail off to get to where they are, Gus Malzahn or Nick Saban, and they do have college degrees, and college degrees should carry a lot of weight. And we've lost perspective on what student athlete means. And when you start considering everything is about money and only money, then you get to what we are getting right now in the talks of college football and college athletics is, who gets this part and who gets this. And Tom had a good point about becoming a taxable employee now, and you having to take care of everything on your own once you get that paycheck. And there is no more free tutoring. There is no more any of this given to you. You got to take care of yourself, so people better be leery about what they ask for. They might just get it.
Yeah, Andy Graham and Brett Pritchard here with you on Sports Call. Our numbers are 887-3401 locally, or toll free at 188-9-TIGER-9. Yeah, when you blur the line between professional and amateur, which we've kind of it's gotten blurrier and blurrier over the years, but now we're taking away, and we're trying to talking about unionization. We're talking about paying players. We're talking about
royalty fees.
Royalty. I mean, you're taking everything that made college football so great, and you're taking the college experience and changing it in a way that I don't think is for the better. We keep talking about we don't know what college football is going to be like in 10 years from now. I'm not sure what college football is going to be like 5 years from now.
I've been saying that for a long time. I really think we're a lot closer than that. I think we're 5 years out from seeing a massive difference in what we view college football. I know everybody keeps throwing the number 10 out, but I've been throwing 5 out for 4 or 5 months on this program. I just think that it's on the fast road to change, and I'm not sure everybody, when we get that change, they're going to want to go back. They're going to go, man, this isn't what I wanted to do. But, well, then the whole time you've been hollering for it. And so you got to be leery about what you ask for sometimes.
That's true. Unions have their place, and, the idea behind it was always to, improve the workplace. And, if we're talking about, college athletes and their health, we're talking college, football's a rough sport. And we're finding out more and more how rough that it is, with concussions coming to the forefront and that being a big issue. But, we're talking about their health down the line. Let's say they play 4 years for university and they have lingering health problems. Their knees are shot after 4 years or something. They have a catastrophic knee injury or something. Should they have some kind of benefits, to help them down the line? Yeah, probably so. And maybe a union could help with that. But, it never seems to stop there. You always, they get the problems. They try to help take care of the problems, but you end up causing more problems than you seem to help. You look at the auto industry in the United States of America. the workplace benefited greatly, in the 40s and 50s, but because of unions and because of some of the implementation of their statutes and things, it's kind of destroyed some industry. So you look at college football, it would probably be good in the short term, but in the long term, over a span of years, I think it's going to be detrimental in the long run.
8889 Tiger 9 334 887 3401. We got a trivia question out there. The Spurs, this will be the Spurs' 17th straight playoff appearance. That is the longest active streak in the NBA. What NBA team has the second longest streak? Give us a call at 8889 Tiger 9 334 887 3401. And in the same breath with the NBA, Andy, Adam Silver, who is the NBA commissioner now, made it very clear that pushing back the league's age minimum to 20 is at the top of his priority list. You're starting to see some change. You're starting to see what we've all been talking about on talk radio all over this country, that the college basketball has suffered and the NBA has suffered because of the 19-year-old rule. And, why not change it? I mean, NBA obviously, and Charles Barkley brought it up. He said that the bottom half of the NBA right now is a dumpster fire. It's not any good. They're not competitive. There's only a few teams that are competitive out there, and so this is where it had to change. This is who had the power to make it change, and if they can get this pushed across, and these guys are going to have to stay at least 2 years in college, and it's going to make a big difference in the level of play on both sides.
Yeah, and it's talk about relevant. I mean, Jabari Parker announces today. He's going to the NBA. Obviously,
shocker there.
Really. Wiggins has already announced. Embiid from Kansas. No doubt. I don't know as all 5 starters have announced to Kentucky, but I'm sure a lot of them will not be back next year. You say, well, it's just 1 year, but 1 year makes a lot of difference. You talk about back-to-back years. 1 year of college experience. Coming back for that sophomore season, it makes an enormous difference. The experience level that you get playing, just the chemistry that you can build, certainly, can be very evident in 1 year's time. So, and like you said, the NBA is the one with the power here. It's their rule. It's not college basketball's rule. It's an NBA rule to say that you cannot enter into the NBA until you reach a certain age.
That's right.
Like you said, they're the ones that have to change it, and it's good to see that they're, it's at the forefront, and it may be something that will be done sooner rather than later.
Well, they got to get the players' union to buy into it, and Silver went on to say, if we're going to be successful in raising the age, I want to get your take on this comment. If we're going to be successful in raising the age from 19 to 20, part and parcel in those negotiations goes to the treatment of players on these college campuses and closing the gap between what their scholarships cover and their expenses. We haven't looked specifically at creating a financial incentive for them to stay in college. That's been an option that has been raised over the years, but that's not something that is on the table right now. What's your thoughts on that statement, Andy?
Well, we're talking about full cost of attendance. Would that be a factor in it? I don't think there's any question that we're headed that direction. That's going to happen. I don't know, and I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. Obviously, we're talking about basketball here, but obviously this is sports across the board. But and this kind of goes into that. Can they not eat? Can you not provide enough meals for the students? So, full cost of attendance. Whatever that is, I'm not against that. That's fine with me, and it certainly if that if that helps in the negotiations, and certainly benefits everyone involved, that's great.
That's exactly right. Kenneth in Montgomery on Sportscall. You with us, Kenneth? I think we dropped Kenneth. Kenneth, give us a call back if you get a chance. 888-9-TIGER-9 334-887-3401 to be part of the program, and it's going to have to be in conjunction with one another. The NCAA and the NBA are going to have to come to terms, and they said Silver and Emmert and the team owners talked also about other ways to potentially ease a player's transition from college to the NBA. This could include changes in officiating and the gameplay, such as reducing the NCAA shot clock, which is at 35 seconds compared to the NBA's 24. And I've heard a lot of people talk about that. 35 seconds too much. I mean, guys just sit down there and dribble around and hold it. 24 seconds, that should be more along the lines or maybe somewhere in between. I think we have Kenneth back. Kenneth, you with us?
Hey, Kenneth.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We got you now, man.
Yeah, I think he's the Atlanta Hawks.
You are right. It is the Atlanta Hawks, unbelievably, with 7. So
Can you believe that? Yeah.
cannot believe that at all. So that may say a lot about the NBA right now.
Yeah.
Well, Kenneth, we appreciate your call, my man, and you just won your Sports Call T-shirt and decal. Go pick it up on Frederick Road at the LNG location.
I'll do that, man. Thank you.
Kenneth, thank you so much. It's that easy. Give us a call, 888-9-TIGER-9, 334-887-3401. Andy, I think we're up against a break. Unbelievable. Atlanta Hawks have the second longest active streak of making the playoffs.
I would have never guessed that. I'd have gripped the Clippers before I'd have guessed that one. There's more to come. Stay with us on this Friday Sports Call.
Lift you up. I can show you what you want to see and take you where you want to be. You could be my love. Even if the sky is falling down, I know that we'll be safe and sound. We're safe and sound. I can feel your cup. You know I really want to evaporate this.
All right, guys, bring it in. Listen up. I want to talk about it last night. Yes, sir. Maybe you had your friends over, huh? Cracked open some icy cold Budweisers. And maybe, just maybe, you had yourselves the night of your life. Well, yesterday's over, boys, but tonight is just beginning. You got a bunch of bonus buds sitting pretty in your fridge. I want you to crack them open, and I want you to mass text all your friends and round them all up again for round 2. I don't want to hear. I do not want to hear. But we're tired from yesterday, Coach. Or the cleaning lady just left. That's what the fool who missed it would say. Gentlemen, listen to me. You need to go out there and live, and you need to do it tonight. Carpe diem, boys. And while you're at it, carpe nightem too. Great times await. Grab some buds.
Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Auburn Bank has money to lend because you have a dream to start, a business to expand, folks to take care of, a future to secure. For what matters most to you in your life, our experienced lenders are ready to assist you in achieving your goals. Auburn Bank, since 1907, your partner, your neighbor, your friend. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Online at auburnbank.com.
It's true. The Big Blue Bookstore stocks Auburn's best selection of textbooks and sweetens the deal with a low price guarantee. But wait, there's more. How about a full-service post office inside the store? Don't waste hours and hours standing in the world's slowest line way on the other side of town. Multitask. Big Blue's collection of Auburn merchandise covers all your bases. AU apparel, gifts, home and auto decor, even stuff for your War Eagle pet. Well, looky there. Now you've got gifts for friends and family, and hey, there's a post office to ship them. Go Big Blue. The Big Blue Bookstore. Winn-Dixie Shopping Center on South College.
Auburn Links is proud to honor the people who keep us safe, the men and women of the military, and the police, fire, and EMTs of Lee County. To show their thanks, Auburn Links is offering you special discounts. Just show your ID, and you'll get 18 holes of the best golf around for just $25 anytime. That's right, members of the military, along with police, fire, and EMTs of Lee County, 18 holes for just $25. Auburn Links wants to thank you for what you do with a great round of golf. Auburn Links off exit 51. Call 887-5151.
Since 1913, Blue Bunny, a family-owned ice cream maker, has been hard at work putting all things chunky, chewy, rich, and gooey into their ice cream. Ice cream lovers, experience the delicious Cadbury Chocolate Almond Ice Cream Bar. Made with creamy Blue Bunny vanilla ice cream and tasty almond pieces dipped in rich Cadbury milk chocolate. Or try another of Blue Bunny's tantalizingly tasty treats at one of 14 TK's convenience store locations. Whether you prefer ice cream on a stick, in a cone, as a bar, or in a sandwich, TK's has the Blue Bunny flavor you're you're craving. Just grab one and go.
For your Easter meal, turn to Honey Baked Ham for all the essentials. Hey, this is Crystal from Honey Baked Ham Company and Cafe in Opelika. This Easter, make it a truly special day with a feast for your whole family. With our signature honey glazed spiral sliced hams, classic heat and serve sides, and a full selection of desserts. We're open 10 to 7 Monday through Saturday with extended hours for Easter. And now you can order your family's Easter meal online. Go to myhoneybakedstore.com, call us at 741-8411, or come see us on Gateway Drive in Opelika. Happy Easter from all of us at Honey Baked Ham.
Hi, this is Melinda from Life South. Did you know that Life South is your community blood center? Did you know that when you donate with Life South, your donation stays right here at home? Every 2 to 3 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood. You can make a difference this year and do something amazing. You could save the life of a friend, a family member, or even a coworker. To find out more about how you can host a blood drive or donate with Life South, visit our website, www.lifesouth.org. Do something amazing. Donate with Life South Community Blood Centers today.
Welcome back to the Friday edition of Sports Call. Andy Graha and Brett Pritchard here with you. We'll be with you till 6 o'clock on this rainy Friday. 8A this weekend, a big weekend for the Auburn University. A lot going on. The weather is not nice tonight, but it's supposed to be nice tomorrow, so get out and enjoy all the Auburn things that all Auburn has to offer. Auburn, South Carolina will first pitch will be about 11 o'clock. Then they'll have the second game at 4 o'clock. In between that will be 8A at 2 o'clock. It'll be televised by ESPN. So just go out, and be a part of the all the festivities on the campus of Auburn University. Brett, I wanted to get your thoughts on this Dabo Swinney story. Now, I certainly I'm not the biggest Dabo fan, and I don't think a lot of Auburn fans are. But I'm kind of backing him on this one. The story came out, it says the Freedom from Religion Foundation has lodged a letter of complaint to Clemson charging that Dabo Swinney and his staff with unconstitutional behavior at the public university. Among the concerns outlined, they say Swinney personally invited James Trapp to become the team chaplain. That's in violation of the Constitution and university guidelines on hiring chaplains, apparently. And he gave Trapp access to the entire team. He gave Trapp access to the entire team for Bible studies. Swinney schedules team devotionals. Swinney has organized transportation for coaches and players to quote-unquote church days. So the university has made a statement, sent out a statement that says that they're going to evaluate the complaints, but they believe Swinney and his staff are not in violation of any separation of church and state guaranteed in the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. Participation in religious activities is purely voluntary, and there are no repercussions for students who decline to do so. So it says, we are not aware of any complaints from current or former student athletes and feeling pressured or forced to participate in religious activities. Swinney not really being made available for comment, but some of his players say that Swinney has been quoted as saying, "I'm a Christian. If you have a problem with that, you don't have to be here." He said that to some recruits. One of the Richard Hall told a publication, he said, if you're there, you're going to know Jesus. You're going to know verses in the Bible. It's weaved into the culture. There's a drawing in towards Christianity. So the Freedom from Religion Foundation says that they want the school to direct Swinney and Trapp to immediately stop team prayers, sermons, Bible studies, and quote-unquote church days for players. And they want them to train their staff about the First Amendment obligations and to monitor compliance.
Isn't that what makes our country great, is that we all have the opportunity to choose what we want to do. And myself as a Christian as well, the bottom line is with Dabo Swinney is that he was hired by Clemson to run the program. And, when you hire a person, Andy, you hire all of that person. You hire, you can't expect on the same plain that Dabo Swinney, toss aside his personal beliefs and not interject some of those and what he thinks makes him successful into the minds of some of these student athletes. Now, here's the where the rubber hits the road. Has he forced anybody to do anything? And the answer is no. So, there's always groups out there like this group Freedom from Religion Foundation, which I believe is the same group that came down and tried to I guess bring charges against Billy Coleman, the superintendent up in Coleman County Schools, which happens to be one of my good friend's dads, and I know him extremely well, and it had to do with prayer in the schools and praying, honoring the National Day of Prayer and all that. Look, he wasn't forcing anybody to do anything. These guys are just trying to eliminate Christianity from all walks of life. And that's not what Dabo Swinney's trying to. He has not penalized anybody, nor has he made it mandatory of anybody on his team or program to have to go to any prayer meeting, to have to go to any church day, or to have to participate in anything other than what they're required to do and play football. Now, he does give the opportunity to other players, or to the players, to come and join him and do things that are outside of the realm of actually just playing football. But, that's the problem, in my opinion, in this country, is there's always you're going to have some group raise up and have a problem and try to tell you what they think you ought to do. And I think you just go on about your business, and I think you handle it like Dabo Swinney handled it, and you continue to do the things that you feel like make you successful. Now, when you start to force things down somebody's throat, then it becomes a problem. But he has not done that. And to me, this group doesn't have an argument. Let's go back to the phone lines. Shadow in Prattville, you're on Sports Call. Shadow, you with us? Shadow. And I don't think we got Shadow. So if we're having some issues back there in the studio, please let's see what we can do to get those figured out. And there we go, Shadow. You with us?
Yes, sir, I am. I just want to make a comment on what you're talking about. Our country was based on Christianity. Our country was founded on a faith and belief in God. And I believe that if you take a poll and you ask people if they want to keep God in America, I believe you're going to get a pretty good answer on that. I don't believe it'd be too blurred, but if we take God out of everything, then all you got left is darkness and the devil. And people that don't believe in God, they're going to find out one day He is. And hell is actually, the definition of it is the absence of God. I don't really understand why we seem to be just sitting down, not fighting for any of our rights. We're losing them one at a time. You mentioned something being stuffed down our throats. Well, homosexuality is forced down our throats. I don't know why it is that our society seems to be. I think it may be because we've got such weak leadership in Washington now. But besides that, I just wanted to say that for all you Bammers out there that's listening, Auburn's going to beat you every single year. Malzahn is at Auburn. And I, for one, I've been listening to this. I mean, think about it now. Think about this. Everybody now hang up and listen. Think about this. That the Auburn-Alabama series at Legion Field was played for 50 years, with Alabama definitely having a home field advantage. And I want you to know that if that series had been played for 50 years, home and home basis, Auburn would have a definite sizable lead in this rivalry, and it's going to keep growing as long as Malzahn is there. Can't wait for the A-Day. We're going to win the national title this year. You're going to see the greatest team in Auburn history this year. Thank you.
Shadow, we appreciate your call, and a lot of good stuff as always. from Shadow, and look, we live in a country where everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but I agree with Shadow on a couple different fronts, Andy, that, we're just so quick to allow one, who made Freedom from Religion Foundation so powerful? What group you and I want to start up here this afternoon, Andy, and let's go find somebody that we can go isolate and see if we can get something changed. I mean, he's right. I mean, we have gotten away, and I think we've talked about that a lot on this show over the last month on different things, from how marijuana should be viewed now, and we've just you've got to have standards in society, and you've got to allow people to make their own decisions. And Christianity's part of society, and everybody doesn't have to agree with it, and everybody doesn't have to participate in it, just like everybody doesn't have to agree with what somebody else does in their lifestyle. But for them to come in and just point a finger, it's just like they find people to target and see if they can get. And I think it's more of an attention thing than it is anything.
Well, the reason this is relevant is because Gus Malzahn wears his Christianity on his sleeve, much like Dabo Swinney does. So this could very well as easily be a letter sent to Auburn. And you see things like this or a story like this crop up every now and then. I doubt much will come from it, but another story won't be far behind it, I would imagine. Now, Clemson is a public university, and they are beholden to follow certain laws. Now, we can debate whether those laws are right or wrong, and I'm like you, in full disclosure, I'm a Christian as well. So I fully, endorse what Dabo's doing, and I appreciate his stance. However, there are some legal, statutes that he has to follow.
Well, I don't think he's violating.
And that's the point. I think he's not in violation of these. And like you said, I think that was you put it best, that when you hire a football coach, it's not just you pour your life into this program. You talk about building your program. You put your stamp on your program. It is your heart and your soul and your life that you put into it. It kind of takes on your attributes. And this is who he is. This is who, Gus Malzahn is. And there's a reason that Gus Malzahn went out and hired coaches that have Christian backgrounds, that are family men. He wants his program to emphasize those aspects. And, I remember Bobby Bowden I saw an interview with him, and he talked about how, if it was important to him to convert his players to Christianity, because he felt that strongly about it. And, Shadow, he was very eloquent and very, forthright. I think a lot of people do feel that way. We're up against a break. We'll be back after these few messages. There's more to come on the Friday edition of Sports Call.
Ever wondered what LMG can do for you?
edition of Sports Call, the final segment here on this rainy Friday afternoon. Andy Graha and Brett Pritchard here with you for about 5 or 7 more minutes. Brett, the Major League Baseball has implemented replay this year. It could have gone better. So far, there have been a lot of hiccups with it here and there. But the other night, John Farrell, the Boston Red Sox manager, had the dubious honor of the first man to be thrown out after arguing a call that was replayed.
It'll be in the history books.
Yeah, that's right. It was replayed and it came out, and he didn't like the overturning of it. But one of the problems is that when you talk about replay, the whole idea is to get it right. And it seems that there has already been a call. A guy slid into second base, came up off the base, and was tagged. They went back and looked at it on replay, and you can see a clear shot of it. His foot's about an inch off the base, but they called him safe. If you're not going to get it right, then why have it?
Exactly. I think replay has been beneficial in college and professional football, and it will be beneficial in Major League. Look, we play the game to get it right, and there's going to be some that are adamantly against replay in baseball because they feel like the human error part is part of the game. Well, it shouldn't be. Human error part shouldn't be, if you make a mistake, you need to correct it. And if you need to pause it and to make sure it's a crucial part of the game, you need to get it right. That's why you have replay. It's why it was invented. So what's the harm in it? So, they've made some snafus here early, but I think in the long run, Major League Baseball will benefit from it. And, there was a no-hitter or a perfect game that was awarded or not awarded that was wiped out. What was it, last year or the year before? I think it was the year before. Year before.
Detroit Tigers.
Because the umpire called a guy safe. He wasn't safe. And, he missed the call. So that's the deal. If you go back and look at it, then that guy's got a perfect game, and he's in the record book. So when it comes down to that, yes. So it's very easy to be critical of somebody, just like Sonny Galloway and Bruce Pearl, coming on board. And Sonny Galloway right now, with Auburn being in last in the West, it'd be very easy to point a finger and blame it all on him when it's not all his fault. He can't take blame for everything what he inherited. So they're getting used to it here in the major leagues, and I think in the long run it'll pay dividends.
Yeah, one thing is interesting about baseball. In football you have receiver makes a catch. Did he come down inbounds or out of bounds? You can slow it down. You can look. Did he fumble the ball or did he not? Was his knee down or was it not? In baseball, you didn't really think about these kind of things, but you make a throw to first base. Is the guy safe or not? Well, it goes more than was his foot on the bag. What constitutes a catch? How far does the ball have to be in the glove, for it to be a catch? Everybody has to be. There has to be a legitimate, well spelled out, to say, well, it's when the ball hits the glove, or is it when the ball is inside the glove? So how far does it have to be inside?
Well, there's things in football that you can do that way too. That are
the tuck rule.
What is and there's certain things you can't review in football. Well, there ought to be some things that you can't review in baseball as well. You could review every play, but for the most part, like what if an umpire calls a home run a foul ball, because he couldn't quite tell if it was over the pole or not, or if it went around it or not. There's a time to come in there and bring replay in, and let's make sure we call it a fair foul ball. I think that's a huge part. There are times where you can go back and did the guy trap the ball? This center fielder was running in to make a catch. Did it hit the ground? It's no different than watching a receiver catch a pass in the NFL or college. Did the ball hit the ground and skip into his arms? Did the ball hit the ground, skip into the glove?
Right. And another thing that's kind of confused things and made things a little worse this year is they've changed the transfer rule. Used to, you could, if it hit your glove and you were bringing it out with your hand and dropped it, it was still an out.
Sure.
Now they say no, you're safe, and that's already cost the Red Sox another. The next night they got they had one call go against them on the guy at second base getting tagged out. Now they have a guy, the catcher comes out of his gloves, going to try to turn the double play. First, pitcher to the catcher to first base. He drops the ball. They call a runner safe. Run scores. They lose by 1.
And I look. I think that's a wrong rule, and the reason I say that is because he's already maintained possession of the ball, and he is turning to turn another play or make another play in the game. That play, the out's already happened. It's already occurred. So if he catches now, if he drops the ball in the glove and it hits the ground, or if he juggles it, of course he's safe. But if he's caught it and is transitioning, why didn't they just keep that the same? That didn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. They need to get on the same page. They got to get these things worked out. And like you say, it'll all work itself. And it's very new. There's still time to get these things going on. A big weekend on the Auburn campus. 8 days tomorrow begins at 2 o'clock. Auburn takes on South Carolina. Baseball game beginning at 11 a.m. There will be a second game played at 4 p.m. The Auburn softball team goes on the road to Athens to take on Georgia. They had struggled, losing 7 straight. They got a huge win over Alabama Wednesday night. Marcy Harper in particular pitched absolutely wonderful, pitched 7 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs. The offense came out of the gate, got up on Alabama, and really just cruised on to victory. A huge boost of confidence for them heading on the road. That's going to do it for us today on this sports call. We appreciate so much of our calls, all of our calls, and all you out there listening. We appreciate Tom Luganville joining us. Will's going to be with you on the tailgate show tomorrow, so be sure and join him for that. For Brett Pritchard, my name is Andy Graham saying so long. We'll talk again soon.